Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So basically, what I want to know is, how excited are you to be you're pretty much leading the new era of NXT? We've heard all the rumors. We heard Nick Khan over the weekend. You're going to be at the focal point of that. How does that feel for you personally?
I'm overjoyed at the opportunity. I think NXT obviously is a vitally important part of the WWE universe and kind of the WWE ecosystem, and to kind of be at the forefront of it of so many athletes, especially when you're talking about younger, hungrier athletes who are looking to make their splash on the world. It means a lot to me, and it's always been a cool experience.
Thanks, Dan. Let's come next to Jack Hudson over in Australia.
Hey, going, Samoa Joe. Nice to speak to you.
Right on, brother. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. So you're the first three-time champion of NXT. So how does it feel, and how great is it to see the growth of the NXT brand over the years?
To be three-time champion, it's obviously just another check mark in the many unusual hard marks of my career. But I will say this, and I alluded to this earlier. When it comes to NXT, like, you're dealing with people who are kind of bursting onto the scene, who are coming into their own, who are kind of developing and becoming these amazing superstars that people come to know and love for years to come. So it's always incredibly exciting to kind of be around that environment, because it's one of the special moments in several superstars' careers to be around when that happens. And with NXT, I get to see that almost on a daily basis. So it's really, really nice.
Let's come next to Luca Carbonaro in Italy.
Hi, Joe. Greetings from Italy. Congrats on your big win at TakeOver. After achieving this great accomplishment at TakeOver, you are for the first time the three-time NXT champion. Would you like to end your in-ring career in NXT, or would you like in the future maybe to come back in the main roster?
Interesting question. Not one that I've put a ton of thought to, but as I think about it now, if my career was to end in an NXT, I'd be fine with that. But knowing the turbulent temperature of our industry and what happens in the big show environment and what I bring to the table, to say that would be pretty ignorant, because I'm sure sooner than later I'll manage to pop up and start some trouble on another brand. Because I don't know, there's always that inevitable thing out there in the future. So let's go.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll come next to Matthias. Matthias, let's come to you.
Okay. Hi, Joe. Thank you for your time. This is Matthias from La Razón in Spain. I wanted to ask you about William Regal, because he played like a big role in your on-screen return. But what's it the case behind the scenes? I know that you mentioned Triple H in other interviews, but I wanted to ask you about Regal.
So when you talk about William Regal and to my career personally, he's been tremendously involved throughout every stage of my career since I met him when I first broke into the business until now. William Regal was one of the parties that is largely responsible for the reason that I'm in WWE. On his tireless recommendations after years of saying, "This is the guy," I'm telling you. So yeah, William Regal is a major component, both personally and professionally, in my life. This is a man who, and I'm not the only one. The other thing, this is not just just me. I mean, I'm one of hundreds of superstars and just people in the wrestling world who are proteges and who are given advice, who are given guidance, and who are really looked after and cared for by William Regal. I mean, this man genuinely cares about this business. He genuinely cares about the people in this business, and it shows in how much, when I really look back and I see how much time he puts into an effort he puts into just getting feedback to younger wrestlers coming up and learning. It's really something, especially for a man who really owes nothing to nobody. He still manages to find the time. I'll always be thankful to him for that.
Let's come next to Vineet at News 18 in India.
Hi, Greetings from India.
Hello.
So my question to you is, here in India, NXT is something that is getting some really serious following here. The fan base here is huge. I just want to ask you about the Indian fan base. How much of a following you see on social media, your take on that, in interactions that you remember, and about the Indian talent at the WWE developmental right now. If you had the opportunity to talk to them, see them work, your thoughts.
First and foremost, when you talk about wrestling, and its historic contents, obviously, the roots trace back to India and back to the folk wrestling in India, and a lot of the submission arts and what you see. If you really do the ancient work and you go back, you'll see a lot of those pathways lead back to India. And I think it leads to India always having a rich wrestling culture, and I think the fans and the people of India would love to see more Indian superstars, and that's kind of been why we've been on such a recruitment drive for new Indian stars. Obviously, we know India's loves WWE. They're massive part of the WWE universe, and we want to be able to train and provide the next great crop of Indian superstars who can help bring in more of that fan base and make them feel a little bit more home in the WWE universe.
We're going to come next to Miguel at Mundo Deportivo.
Hey Joe, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you, man. Pleasure to talk to you.
So you defeated Karrion Kross at NXT TakeOver 36 to become a 3-time NXT champion. So this is even more impressive knowing that it was your first match in over a year and a half. So how was your training to return to the ring, and how did you prepare for your match against Kross?
First and foremost, the training was definitely focused on injury recovery, getting better from the concussion, making sure that we were really healthy and doing the right things along the way. And then it was just a matter of just doing what we've always done, getting back into the gym, getting back on the bags and the mitts, and just really putting in the time and trying to get back to 100%. And I mean that really, I'd love to tell you there was a secret formula to it, but it was just it's a basic formula. Just go out there and get prepped up. I had a lot of help both at the PC, my own trainer here, Josh Rafferty, who works with several superstars from across the spectrum of the industry, and it's just getting the right people in your corner and doing things the right way and making sure you're doing it and getting healthy at the same time. That was really the major focus.
Let's come to Ricardo Vacchia. Ricardo. Okay.
Okay. Do you hear me?
We do.
Oh,
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, Samoa. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Thanks. I just had the chance to talk to you Friday at Las Vegas tryout, where I was asking you about Santos Escobar. I don't know if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that you have the NXT championship, how about giving a Mexican or a Latino talent a shot for the championship? What do you think about that?
I called everybody out last NXT television. I stood in the middle of the ring. I said, "Hey, now's the time to stop staring. Now's the time to start talking." I didn't see him in that line. So if you got an issue with who's going to throw the challenges out, hey, the podium was open, the mic was empty, it was ready to be spoken into, and he didn't show up. So go talk to your mans about that. I'm willing, I'm ready, I'm able, I'm sitting here. And if somebody wants a title shot, it don't matter where you're from. You come get one.
Let's come to Vincent Shardak at VL Media.
Hi, Joe. How are you,
Hello.
man?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Congratulations of being the first 3-time NXT champion. It was really awesome. And talking about last Tuesday on NXT, you called everyone. And we saw that some superstars are looking for your title: Kyle O'Reilly, LA Knight, Pete Dunne, Ridge Holland, and Tommaso Ciampa. And if you had the choice, would you choose as your challenger between these?
I throw them all in there at once. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, it makes no. I mean, when it comes, honestly, when you speak about these competitors, we talk about everybody that showed up and were in that ring with me. I mean, it really, you don't lose with any of those options. You do not lose with any of those options. So, I mean, to kind of like pare it down to one, I think it'd be pretty ridiculous. I mean, one of them stands out and comes to the forefront, you're gonna have a good match. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about challenges. This question has been asked ad nauseum leading up to this and afterwards, and I realize why. And people want that definite statement of who's going to come get it, but that's not a statement for me to make. That's a statement for the other superstars to make. So, you know, when the time's right and if they're ready, we're going to get it on.
We'll come next to Stephanie Franchon.
Hi, Joe.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. Congratulations for being the first three-time NXT champion. You were already the first two-time, and now you're the first three-time. My question was, so the last weekend you were attending the tryouts in Las Vegas. Now you're going to be involved in talent scouting. Is it something that you have had in mind for a long time, being also involved in finding talents, in helping talents, young talents?
Essentially, it kind of was something, it was thought about and planned for a long time, but it was based on the fact that, you know, I kind of was already doing it for quite a while for several different companies I work for. You know, it's no secret. I mean, this in our industry, when you know you find somebody who's dependable, who's awesome, who's able to deliver and do well, you know, it is natural that you want to, you know, pass on that person's number, pass on a good word for that person, because the more of those people you surround yourself with, generally you become a more successful person because you're in a successful company. And you know you're with people who are just as dedicated to what you do as you are, and you know it felt natural because you know it was something that had been occurring my entire career, you know, and it's been something that I've benefited from, you know, just people that worked with me and said, hey, this guy's solid and this guy's awesome and he can come and add something to what we do here. And it's a tradition, you know, like I said, I touched on it earlier about William Regal. You know, it was a tradition passed on to me by William Regal, and it's one that I'm happy to continue to carry on into the future.
We'll come next to Ash Rose. Ash, let's come to you.
Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Excellent, man. How are you? Quite a collection there. That's awesome. I like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, the wife appreciates it as well. Yes, you can well imagine. I wanted to ask you in terms of your career in WWE so far. You know, I've enjoyed so much of it, well, all of it pretty much. Your stuff with Brock, your US title reign, your stuff in NXT. Where does Saturday night or Sunday night, sorry, where does that rank in your resume of WWE achievements?
Pretty high, and for a lot of the reasons I listed earlier. You know, NXT's kind of become a favorite place of mine in the span of my career, and it was because of a lot of the experiences that I had here while I was here, and you know, taking the breadth of my career and trying to rank the moments, it's pretty impossible. There's been so many, and they've been so great, and doing that would kind of be a disservice to all of them. But I will say this: it ranks among the very top.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll come next to Vicente Beltran at Marca.
Hello, Yo. How are you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us today, and congratulations, not just for what you achieved on Sunday, but for everything you achieved during your career in wrestling. I would like to start asking you about one thing that Ciampa told me a couple of months ago, because I asked him about your return to NXT, and he said, yeah, it will be a dream match for me, and I would love to fight Samoa Joe on a takeover, and hear those chants for the crowd. Samoa is gonna kill you versus Ciampa's gonna kill you. I don't know if you have any dream matches in this point in your career so far.
You know, at this point, you know, there are no dream matches. It's all reality matches. I mean, I'm on the cusp of it right now. You know, you talk about Ciampa's right here. He's ready. You know, you talk about Pete Dunne's ready. You know, Walter, he's ready. I mean, Roderick Strong, he's ready. I mean, let's stop the dream match talk, because dream matches are something that you hope will happen one day. This all is going to go down. I mean, you know, it's inevitable. You can tell just by the level of competition in NXT. The guys, you know, they want to prove themselves. You know, when I walk through the locker room, it's like it's a bunch of dudes kind of sitting there and just rubbing their hands and licking their chops way too much for my liking, because you know they understand the opportunity that's in front of them, and they're ready to take advantage of it. So you know, hey, I'm ready too. So it should be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much and good luck.
We'll come next to Matt Connell at Verge.
Thank you very much, Joe, for your time. So, of course, three-time NXT champion as of last weekend. Where does this victory sit emotionally compared to when you won it versus Finn at the live event, Toronto with Shinsuke? Of course, the build-up and the run-up, of course, from going to commentary to the release to then now being champion. How does this sit? How does it compare to the previous runs?
To the previous two championships, obviously they meant a tremendous amount to me. Because I'm in there with two men that I've garnered a tremendous amount of respect for, that have been involved heavily in my life and career for quite a long time. So those will always hold a very, very special place in my heart. What stands out about this one is this kind of caps off a new era for NXT. This makes a touchstone for the future of a company and everybody's wondering what the future is going to be. And I'm very, very happy to be on the vanguard of this because, it's going to be an exciting new time. And it's something I'm very much looking forward to.
We look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have a couple more that haven't been asked yet that we're going to come to. We will then have a short amount of time to come through again and ask of you. So if you do have a follow-up question, just use the raise hand icon on your Zoom if you do have a question, and we'll try and get to you. But for now, we will come next to Gary Cassidy at Inside the Ropes.
Hi, Joe. Congratulations. How's it going?
Excellent, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. So you've obviously already addressed and been asked about the changes that are impending for NXT. I kind of want to flip that a little bit because there's this focus on younger talent and all that stuff. But my thing would be, well, who better to have as your champion as the most experienced man on the roster? You've done it all. You've been widely regarded as one of the best in-ring performers, one of the best talkers. You've been on commentary. I want to ask, are you just now only an in-ring performer in NXT, or are you kind of veering into other roles? Are you doing any production? Are you mentoring anyone? And if not, is it something that you're looking to do in the future?
All of the above currently, right now as we speak, actively doing all those things that you just spoke of, and we'll continue to do so into the future. It was funny when Triple H did touch on it. They asked me, what would you say Joe's job description is? And the fact of the matter is, I do so much it wouldn't fit on a business card. And really, I'm happy to. It's a lot of different hats, but it's a lot of areas that I have experience in, and it's utilitarian in some aspects, but at the same time, that's why I'm doing it, because they know they can put me into a spot where they need something done, and done at least halfway decently, and I'll get the job done. So it's all those things, from mentoring people to training to sometimes maybe producing a segment to flying out to the wilds of wherever and finding our next superstar. I mean, my remit within the company has expanded drastically, and for me, it's a fun and new, exciting challenge that I'm looking forward to.
Excellent, man. Can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
We'll come next to Alex McCarthy.
Hey, champ. How's it going?
Hey, excellent, man. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much, man. We only spoke, what was it, last week or the week before, and we were talking about how Walter's name came up, and then I had the chance to speak to Walter, and he actually, referred to you as like an idol of his when he was coming up in the business, and somebody that he learned a great deal from, and he, referenced your Ring of Honor years and all that stuff. I think I'm not alone in saying we all want that match, but I'm just wondering, like, you two have a kind of a relationship already where, you've got together in NXT, or, because I know he's only there every now and again, but it seems that he's such a fan of yours. I'm just curious as to the relationship behind the scenes and the hunger to work together.
I think the respect is absolutely mutual. In fact, I can guarantee it is on my end. I think, and I think the respect is kind of more from kind of understanding, having a similar path in this industry. When you start on the independents, it's funny. It's almost the reverse of when you come to a bigger company. Whereas, you stick out like a sore thumb. You're the bigger guy. Everybody else is usually a bit smaller, usually a little bit more cruiserweight. At least when I was coming up with my anecdotal experience, not par for the course. And it forces you as a bigger guy to be a little bit more agile, to be able to blend and to keep up with the lighter weight wrestlers, and at the same time still be you. Not try to transform yourself into a more giant version of what they're able to do. So, Walter has been able to adapt and do that. Walter can work any style with anybody and still remain Walter. And I think if that was my influence on him, then I'm happy for it, because he does such a wonderful job with it. And what can you say? The guy's big, he's brutal, he goes in there, he mauls his opponents. When you see a Walter match, you look forward to the mauling. It's like, oh, bring out the bear, let's kill the villagers, and that in and of itself is what makes him tremendously special. And when I see that, hey, I gotta admit, it brings a smile to my face. It's always a joy to watch. And if we ever end up across from each other in the ring, well, there'll be a whole lot of bears and to tell the villagers to run. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Can't wait. Cheers, man.
Let's come next to Matty Paddock at Daily Star in the UK.
Hey, man. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Speaking of bears, as you were just talking, I wanted to mention Brock, if I could. As when I think about some of my favorite WWE matches of yours, I think about your short rivalry with Brock and the Great Balls of Fire match and things like that. It was presented at the time and at a time where there weren't too many superstars that got in a great deal of offense against Brock in terms of his presentation and how he was being portrayed. But to say you got some licks in would be an understatement. And it's kind of not the first time we've seen that with you and Brock. I just kind of wanted your thoughts on the dynamic of that match, how it was presented, and how your physicality matches up against his, really, because I really enjoyed the feud.
I think it really comes down to the simple fact that, when Brock shows up for fight night, he wants to be in a scrap. He doesn't want to be he wants to go out there. He wants somebody who's gonna, smash him in the face, and he wants to smash them right back. And Brock knew he had that with me, and he understood that he had to have that with me, and I understood I had to have that with Brock. I mean, it's just it's an attitude. It's how he wants people to go in there and come in and go after him, and it's all those things. So I think that was kind of the simplistic but major reason why we click the way we do, is because when we step in the ring, we're stepping in there to for chaos and destruction to happen, and nothing less than that. So yeah, I guess it's some weird unspoken gentleman's agreement we have.
How beautiful. Thanks very much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
We're going to come back to Vineet at News 18 in India.
My question is, there was this previous question on you being the focal point of the new era of NXT. Naturally, you will be in the title picture for a while, but there will come a time to pass on the baton, so to speak. And you talked about all these established stars in the title picture currently, and there's no bad choice there. But if you had to choose from, let's say, the top 3 up-and-coming stars you would like to work with, and essentially put over, I mean, who would you name and why?
For the sake of curiosity, satiation, let's say, I think when you look at a guy like Kyle O'Reilly, I think he's a guy who's starting to kind of burst forth and come into his own. Tommaso Ciampa, he's an undeniable, face and figurehead in NXT. And I think this is a guy who, is more than happy to jump and want to, grab the reins and take over the course of the future of NXT. Pete Dunne, he's just he's a mean, bad individual, and he wants to take things by force, and far be it from me from dissuading him from doing so. It's a good attitude to have in NXT.
We'll come back to Gary Cassidy at Inside the Ropes.
Excellent. Hi again, Joe. I wanted to ask a little bit about Sunday and the outcome of the match. So, Karrion Kross, obviously one of the most dominant champions in NXT history, and it always seemed like it was going to be a massive thing when he lost the title, and it definitely was. But I want to ask, do you personally feel like that was diminished in any way by the way he's been portrayed on Raw and having lost a match previously? Do you think it was diminished at all? You beating him on Sunday?
I'm approaching this question from just a perspective standpoint, I can sit here and tell you no all day long, you know, and really it's just the perceptions in the fans' mind. They're going to make up their own mind. That's fine. As far as I was concerned, hey, Karrion Kross showed up on Sunday ready to be champion and ready to stay champion, you know, and he showed up ready to go. And so that was who I was prepared for. And, you know, we went out there, we got the job done, and now he's moved on to Raw. Now he's got to reprioritize his focus on Raw, because obviously it's a rough go up there right now. So, I mean, hey, like I said, that perception is left for the fans. As far as I'm concerned, we got down, and that's all there is to it.
We'll come back to Matt Connell at Verge.
So, Joe, as we saw on NXT, there was a long list of faces and names that came out to state their claim as they want to take off your third championship reign. But of course, Carmelo Hayes won the NXT Breakout Tournament. Wondered if you had a message or a thought about that, if he chooses to come after what you're currently holding.
He's more than welcome to, first and foremost. I mean, hey, I'm always for an ambitious young man, you know, shooting his shot. But you know, like I said, he's a breakout star. I mean, you're breaking out. You know, fortunately, you've broken out into much more dangerous waters than you currently swam in. So, I mean, let's understand where we're at in the world. And you know, you want to come hunting for the bigger fish. Well, just know you might get ate. You know, just what happens. So, but that being said, hey, tremendous tournament. You know, honestly, Odyssey Jones is kind of my favorite, but you know, the man pulled it out, you know, by hook and by crook. So I give him credit.
We've got time for a couple of final ones. So we'll come first back to Alex McCarthy at TalkSport.
Hey, Joe. Just wanted to get back into the scouting aspect of Samoa Joe these days. So I'm pretty fascinated with, first of all, how did it go in Las Vegas and sinking your teeth into all those new talents? But secondly, like, you know, we hear so much about the alignment and what people are looking for in WWE now. So I'm just curious, and call me naive, like, is the directive from what you look for from Vince and Triple H, like, because NXT and the whole WWE has to be aligned, right? So just, I guess, walk me through that.
Yeah. So first of all, the trout in Vegas went awesome. I mean, I think all in total, I think it came out to 14 athletes we ended up signing. We were on the fence about a few, so don't quote me. It might be 12, but I think it ended up being 14. And I mean, a few I'm really excited about. Really genuinely, like, fantastic athletes, incredible biomechanics, very charismatic. Yeah, I was very happy with the Las Vegas tryouts. And as for the directive, yeah, there is directives, and they do come straight from Vince. And you know, Vince says, "Hey, this is what we want." But the directives, you know, they are this weird. These have been around forever. You know, I worked for a WWE developmental when I very first started in California, and these directives existed, and they change. You know, it changes based on the needs of the company. So it's funny. I read some of the outrage about, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I read the outrage about the directive. And I'm like, this is nothing different. And then next week the directive will be different. You know, and I think at this point the track record of NXT and their hiring practices has shown that. I mean, there have been different cycles where different types of athletes and everything from independent talents to just straight up athletes to, hey, there's big muscly body. I mean, these directives change and they shift, and it goes basically on the needs of the company. So yeah, that is the directive right now is probably a little bit younger and looking for a little bit more athletic, which I don't think is anything terrible whatsoever. But that directive will invariably shift as the needs of the company shift. So yeah, there is a directive. It comes from Vince. We all follow it, and we get the job done for him. So, and we're happy to do so. So there we go.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. It's that simple, by the way, too. There's no other convolution to it. It's, hey, we're looking for this right now. Can you guys get us this? Sure. We're the talent department. We'll look for that. It's much like a casting agency if you were in Hollywood. And then maybe a few months later, he goes, I need this, which is different from what I said before. Can you get me that? And then we, as a talent department, go, you know what? We can get you that. And then we go out and we find them that. So, yes, that is how it works. And I hope I've demystified the process for everybody. When you take the circumstances and you put them in some people's imaginations, it's a much more horrible process. But yeah, that's it. That's as simple as that.
Let's come to Vicente Beltran. Let's come back to you.
Joe, finally, I want to ask you about the main differences between your first run in NXT and this second run. I don't know if you already experienced any differences between these two runs.
Yeah, the biggest one is we're not doing as many shows for obvious reasons. So a little less active. Obviously, I would love it to be a little bit more active, safety permitting. But yeah, and just just completely different faces. Even when I came back to NXT the first few times, there were still a lot of familiar faces around me. Now, I'm genuinely dealing with a lot of people that I've never had a lot of experience with. The majority of the roster, a little bit younger, a little bit newer, just kind of coming into their own. So it is kind of a newer environment for me this time around.